What's it called? What's the channel called?
Journals and Journeys.
Hanging out at Journals and Journeys.
Hi, welcome to Journals and Journeys, or the other way around.
It is time. It is time to review The Bastards by PALAYE ROYALE. And let me tell you, it is a ride. But before I get started, a quick little disclaimer as the world is going to shits right now. And not only are we amidst a global pandemic, but there are some serious issues of inequality, injustice, and racism. And none of these issues are new. And if you've been anywhere online or have watched the news or anything, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think it's just really important that everyone speaks up and uses their voice, even if you think it doesn't make a difference. Not saying anything in a way can be complying with those doing the injustice. So speak up, be that in your family, be that with your friends, be that online, just do something and don't stay silent. And what I think is great is seeing so many bands, so many artists, so many individuals really do it this time, step up, use their voice, protest, share, donate, educate themselves. That is the least you can do, educate yourself about the issues. Because at least then you can form a proper opinion and take proper action. And yeah, I just wanted to say that before I get started. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let us get into The Bastards. And like I already teased, this album is a ride. It is absolutely incredible. And after the singles they dropped from the album, I was already thinking like, how is this album gonna get any better? Like, they've already given us the best. Like, what else do they want to give us? The album as a whole is an absolute masterpiece. I would say it's a cinematic masterpiece, not just a musical one. Why I say that, I will be diving into that a little bit during my review, but just to mention a few things. With these songs, there are so many strong images that also come up and so many strong emotions that I feel like it does that step beyond just being music and just being lyrics. It is a whole cinematic world that you dive into, that you live in while you listen to this album. And I'm so oh my god, I can't speak. I'm so incredibly grateful for them putting that out there, being so honest, being so raw. Because honestly, this album has given me a sensation that I haven't gotten to this extent for a long time with any sort of music. It helps me connect with emotions and a part of myself that I tend to hide away and I'm not always very aware of, but that kind of just brings it up in a healthy way because it reminds me it's there and it reminds me that it's okay that it's there and helps me deal with it in a way. So I'm very grateful what they put out there, and I think I'm without words still after a few days of listening to this. I've been listening to this basically non-stop for 3 days now, and it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Okay, what I'm gonna do a little bit differently today, I'm not gonna have any reactions in here because that would make the video hours and hours long. I don't want to do that to you. So I have actually gotten a few notes. As you can see, it's multiple pages, and I had to write down a few things because otherwise I will just talk for hours and hours and hours because that's what I want to do and that's what this album deserves. But I want to keep this relatively short, and I feel like I've been already rambling too much, so I'll just get started with the first track. Little Bastards is the track that kicks off the album, and I think it's a really strong opener because it shows how much they evolved with their whole musical style and how different this era is from the Boom Boom Room era. Don't get me wrong, love that era, but this is just next level, and Little Bastards is the perfect track to show that already. And we of course have the fantastic animated music video, and I did a whole video about the whole track Little Bastards. Oh, that's so good! Whoa! Which is why I'm just gonna keep it here, and if you're interested, I'll link it up there, and I'll also put it in the description so you can check that out. Track number 2 is Massacre, the American Dream, and that obviously was a single as well that we got a while back, but I think the song is more current than ever. And already the second verse of the song shows that, which is why I do want to play it as part of the review. gone, now there's a killing spree. I've given up on America's racist agenda. I'm fucked up from prescriptions and antidepressants. Just listening to that, you know what is happening, and I think this is like an anthem of revolution and an anthem for revolution that is happening right now, so it couldn't be more current. And the lyricism of this is so smart, especially Massacre of Generation Y, our generation, and then you have Generation Y as in the question why is this happening? Why are we letting this happen? And then exactly it turns into the why are we so casual about these casualties? Like we see it's happening, but do we really do anything? A lot of times we don't. That's kind of different right now, and I'm really hoping that what is happening right now, this movement, is actually going to change something. Track number 3 is Anxiety, and it is another track that just shows how much they evolved with their sound. It completely catches you off guard right when it starts because it sounds so different. In a way, the whole song, the whole musicality of the song makes me feel really anxious. And now you could say, oh my god, that's a negative thing, it shouldn't make you feel anxious, but that just intensifies the message of the song, and in a way, it's a healthy kind of anxious because it feels like, okay, I'm not the only person that gets anxious sometimes, and there are people out there that really struggle with anxiety, and it gives you a sense, it gives you a little whiff of what that is like, and makes it easier to understand someone that is in that situation. My relations with the man up above lately, indecisions have been breaking my sanity, contamination of a twisted society, retaliation when I'm full of anxiety. Especially this contamination of a twisted society, it already shows you the message of their whole album, of this whole bassist era of the whole band, because it is about this breaking free from the toxicity of society. That's what their whole symbolism with the gas mask is about, trying to shut yourself off from this contamination in order not to lose your inner self, in order to let that grow and not let society change or impact that in a negative way, also impact the way you're thinking. And then we have the heavy part of the chorus where all your backing scream and running through really screaming, and you have the intense backing with the instrumentals. And for me, that scene right there evokes such a strong image of him basically holding your head, and in a weird way, I have the image of whispering, even though it's a scream, but it's like really close to your ear, and it's like, all your bastards scream. Like all the people that have been looked upon by society, that don't conform to society. Like this is your moment to break out from the cycle and scream. Tonight is the Night I Die is the 4th track of the album, and I believe this will be one of the most popular tracks of the album, and I totally get that. I absolutely love this song as well. We already heard parts of it in the Paradise City trailers, so if you haven't seen the trailer, also go check that out, because I feel like that's going to be a really cool show. Tonight is the Night I Die is really a very cinematic song in the way that you have a very strong bass drum that sounds like a heartbeat. I know I can't live much longer, hear the angels sing, and that's where like this choir kicks in, so that is so incredibly powerful, placing that there. The chorus, when it comes in, before that you have like a bit of indecisiveness. In verse 1 you have the lonely another day, drowning, please save me, I'm struggling in my own daydream. So you do see there's a strong struggle, but through the drowning, please save me, you kind of realize, oh, that person doesn't want to yield, they don't want to give in, they want to continue living. But then you have the pre-chorus, I know I can't live much longer, kind of the resignation, it's inevitable now. Hear the angels sing, I know it's gonna happen, there is no way back. And then you have like a little bit of a silence. And then the tonight is the night I die comes in, and that is like where you realize, okay, the decision is made, there is no way back. Then what I also think is really interesting is the post-chorus, because this kind of takes a different perspective. It takes the perspective of other people by saying, die another day, what they want me to say, die another day. Tonight is the night I die. But other people are like, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It'll be fine, you will be fine, you will come out of this. But you yourself, no, I can't. Tonight is the night I die. I made the decision. And then I also want to talk about the bridge, which feels like an inner monologue from a movie. As I walk through the valley of a shadow of death, I look at you and take my last breath. As I die and fall to the floor, my pain and suffering is no more. This is kind of talking you through that moment where the person has committed suicide, and it almost sounds like they're on the phone to someone, kind of as the last voicemail, and I find that incredibly heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. Moving on to Lonely. Lonely, like I said, was one of those singles where it came out and I was just like, whoa, if this is a single, like what else do they want to do on the album? Because it's so incredibly powerful, it's so personal. I remember when I watched the music video for the first time, I really felt a lump in my throat and I could feel myself tearing up because it was so well done. It really managed to show what he was going through, and obviously this is a very personal song for Remington because he says it tells a lot of his story, a lot of how he felt growing up, and he also did a good job of directing that and showing that in an imagery kind of way, where you also have the flashbacks with a little kid, and then obviously you have the literal digging your grave, which, whoa, what the fuck? It's different hearing it, but then like seeing someone dig their own grave. This grave I call my home, and then having like this home mat lying in front of it is so insane. And this is definitely a song that so many people also connected with, which is reflected in the popularity of the single, and I think that is absolutely legitimate. Already moving on to track number 6, which is Hang On To Yourself. Obviously also a single that's been out for a while. Back when it dropped, I also did a review about the music video. So once again, if you want to check that out, I'll put it up there and down there so I don't have to ramble on about it for too long. But for me, that was kind of the point of getting more of an insight into this world they were creating, the Obsidian Empire, because obviously you have this incredible scenery where they filmed the whole thing, and you could really see that come alive, and I feel like that's also definitely going to be part of the comic book, so it's almost in a way a mini movie of the comic book. Moving on to Fucking With My Head, which is the 7th track off the record, and it was also the first single that dropped. That was the first time we all got the impression or a little taste of the new Palais Royale. I still think this is one of the best songs off the record, also because it got more of that like insanity and anxiety, anger, frustration that is reflected in so many of these tracks is kind of also at a high point there, where you hear the scream. You're fucking with my head. Yeah, yeah, you're fucking with my head. You're fucking with my, we're fucking with my head. Fuck yeah. I swear the screams in there, they just make shivers run down my spine every time I listen to it. Still, when I listen to the song, I still get that sensation. The music video is so good as well because once again, it's also kind of a mini movie out from the comic book that will be dropping whenever Emerson actually drops it, not just says that he will. The first part to the Nervous Breakdown video, which is also the next song on here. And Nervous Breakdown has like this really interesting dynamic. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I think I need to get a tissue. My hay fevers. Okay, humans, I am back. I'm so sorry for that little break, but I live right by the fields, and yesterday the farmer decided it was a very good idea to mow all the fields, and now there's just like the worst pollen in the air and it's killing me. I'm very surprised I haven't cried off all of my eye makeup yet, but I'm gonna get through this. Nervous Breakdown, yes. Nervous Breakdown, what I really like about this track is that it's very unpredictable if you listen to it for the first time, because there are like the heavier parts, and then suddenly when we come into the chorus, it gets very soft, and that contrast is really interesting that they're playing with that, and it kind of reminds me of Poppy a little bit, because I don't listen to Poppy much, but the songs I have heard, she also has like these weird changes of vibe, of tempo, of lyricism where you think like, oh, is this still the same song? Here, you still know it's the same song, but it still has that tension that it builds through the contrast. One of my favorite scenes of the whole thing is where Remington sits in the bathtub with the hair dye on his head and is kind of holding himself. I think that is a really strong and powerful image right there. So everybody, that was it. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. I know this was another very long one and a little different from my usual reviews, but I hope you enjoyed it. And please take care of yourself. Please, please, please use your voice, and I will see you in another video to talk some more music stuff. Bye!